So, earlier today, we had an American actor by the name of Matthew McConaughey, who was from Uvalde, originally from Uvalde, Texas. Write an op-ed. I don't know who published it, doesn't matter. And then he turned around and read the op-ed at the White House. Concerning the gun issue. And he's trying to differentiate between gun responsibility and gun control. And he says there's a difference. Well, yeah, there's a difference. There's a big difference. And he's talking about, well, I want gun responsibility. No, you don't. Not with what you're advocating. I don't understand this fascination with famous people. I don't. Matthew McConaughey is an actor. He gets paid exorbitant sums of money for nothing more than being very good at pretending to be someone he's not. Why would I listen to somebody like that? But then again, I look at the people that you people vote into office, not me. Last election is the first election I voted in a long time. Because I saw how fucked up things were going, where things were going, back years ago. And I stopped playing that fucking party politics. You elected these people. We have not had a statesman since Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan had to buck his own party just to get the nomination. The only reason why he nominated Bush to be he picked Bush to be his vice president, that was the guy he was up against. That's the guy he had to defeat in the primaries, the Republican primaries, to win the nomination to become the Republican candidate. The only reason why he picked him was to smooth things over with the Republican Party, because he was running on the Republican ticket. Now, I'm sorry, but not sorry, but George Herbert Walker Bush was an absolute fucking disaster. Not like the guy we got now, but he was a big government idiot, like the rest of them. Well, no wonder Reagan had to fight his own party. Because Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. Both are big government yahoos. It's just that one is worse about it than the other. Now, when it comes to difference between Democrats and Republicans, Democrats are far worse. They're to the point they're unscrupulous about the taxes he used. I mean, come on. What happened on January 6th? That's a insurrection. But yeah, Democrats, they can go around and they can occupy state houses. Oklahoma, Wisconsin. Hell, they've done it twice in Wisconsin that I know of, where they took over the state house. But that's not an insurrection to overthrow the state government, is it? It wasn't called that. Or they can go to the Supreme Court, sit there, get locked out, and do everything they can to try to get into the court, just because they're protesting something. But that's perfectly fine. They can go into cities and they can riot, burn shit down, private property that other people own, oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. Up in Portland, they can sit there and they can literally put a federal courthouse under siege for God only knows how long that went on. And that's perfectly fine. The double standard is like glaring. Yeah, you put up with it. The fact is, those people on January 6th were just a bunch of ignorant dupes. They walked right into a trap because they got invited. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. That video's out. It's out there. And all you got to do is just go find it. They let those people in. Anybody that was out there breaking windows, that was for show. And then you got the one guy that was walking around with the gal who was with, I don't even remember who she was with. She's videotaping everything. And he was an agitator. He was egging these people on. You did it. You actually got him to do it. Yeah. You did. And now some of them are still rotting in jail. That's a hard frickin' lesson to learn. Because yes, your government is every bit capable of that. That's like when Sandy Hook happened and started seeing all these actors. Hey, wasn't this actor over in this tragedy? Yeah. Oh, well, that's a red flag, or that's a red flag event. No, that's probably a real event. It's just that your government took advantage of it, or somebody did. I wouldn't put it past the United States government to doing it. Well, I know what they're capable of. Your government's fully capable of it. I don't know if they did it or not. Somebody did. Somebody took full advantage of that. Yeah, they hired a bunch of actors. George Soros. That's the kind of shit that's going on in your country right now. And then some shithead actor makes a lot of money, a whole bunch of money, for nothing more than being very good at pretending to be somebody he's not. Goes and starts speaking out of both sides of his mouth, and we're just supposed to drop everything and fall to the ground and praise hallelujah. He cares. We all care. The fact is, he's in an industry that makes a product that's designed to solicit or solicit emotion. Powerful emotions. That's what movies do. That's the reason why you go to the movies. And that's all he fucking spewed today, was raw emotion. There was no logic or reason to his arguments at all. And this whole idea of raising, okay, we're going to raise the age at which you can legally buy a gun to 21. Just like we did with cigarettes, just like we did with alcohol. What's the age of majority in your state? Do you even know? Do you even know what the age of majority is? The age of majority is when you are legally recognized as an adult. Most states, it's not even age 18. A lot of states, it's 16. My parents, my mother was 15 years old. My parents got married. She had my oldest sister, Barbara, when she was 16, 17 years old. About a year after. It was about a year after my mom and dad married. my mom and dad were together until the day that my father passed away. My mother has never, ever remarried, never even considered it. Matthew McConaughey wants to sit there and he wanted to say that he's sitting there, he would have you believe that those kids, those 8 or 9 and 10-year-old kids in Uvalde, Texas, that shithead shot, that the exit wound for an AR-15, a 5.56, is so bad that you can't recognize them. Maybe my .45 pistol with semi-wad cutters or jacketed hollow points, maybe. But I've shot M16s, M4s, the old M60 Pig. It's not even in the Army's inventory anymore. And the M249 saw fires belt-fed. It's a belt-fed machine gun that fires 5.56, and that's a different round than what an AR-15 takes. The round that is fired out of an actual M16 or an M4 is an entirely different round. It's a military-grade round. The caliber is the same, but the casing is different. The casing for a military-grade round is bigger. It's more powerful. And they would have you believe that the AR-15 is every bit as powerful as an M16 or an M4, a military weapon. When I bought my AR-15, and I bought the ammo, and I actually opened up the box and I looked at it and I took the bullet out and I'm like, are you joking? What is this? This isn't a 5.56. No, it's a 5.56. Yeah, it's a civilian grade 5.56. Entirely different round. I bet you that jackwagon named Matthew McConaughey doesn't even know that. Because that jackwagon, Matthew McConaughey, would have you believe that the exit wound for a civilian grade 5.56 is that bad. No. Those kids were unrecognizable because he was dumping whole magazines into them. Had to be. And I'm sorry, Matthew. I grew up shooting guns. I started at 5, the age of 5. I got my first gun at 10, and it was a .410, just like you. You started out with your Daisy BB gun. I didn't start out with a Daisy BB gun, dude. I started out with things a lot bigger than that. And when I got my first gun at the age of 10, my sister and her husband gave it to me for my 10th birthday. And my dad, he said, all right, boy, if you're old enough to own a gun, then you're old enough to take care of all our guns. And that's now your responsibility. And guess what? I wasn't just, my gun wasn't the only one I had to take care of. I had to take care of my dad's guns. And all his guns came out of his room and into mine. I even got a nice gun rack to put them all in. was storage space for all the cleaning supplies, and it was my job to take care of all of them. Right along with all the ammo, storing all the ammo. That was my responsibility. I didn't shoot anybody. What changed? Number one, I had a father who I respected, because he was the absolute authority in our house. My dad said, jump, you asked how high. And when he told you, you did your damnedest to meet his standard. And when it came to our mother, we did not dare disobey or disrespect her, or we were answering to our dad. This kid up in Uvalde, where was his dad? I've heard about the mother and his estranged relationship with his mother, that he was actually living with his grandmother, who he shot in the face. Years and years, several decades ago, Charles Manson and his cult went in and killed a bunch of people. It was gruesome. Back at that time, Charles Manson was an anomaly. And everybody knows, everybody who grew up during that time, shortly after, knew who Charles Manson was, because that was just astonishing, shocking. And it's no longer shocking anymore, because now that sort of thing is no commonplace. The AR-15 is nothing new. That was around when I was in high school. You know how long ago that was? One of my best friends in high school, shortly after we graduated, he bought himself one. Couldn't wait to show it off. He didn't go around shooting anybody. Nobody did. It wasn't. A couple of decades later, the Columbine happened. And now the dam has burst, and that's become the norm. So what changed? What changed? Guns really haven't changed that much. Now, the reason why the federal government decided they wanted to ban full automatic weapons, machine guns, was because of Bonnie and Clyde. They actually had a Brownie automatic rifle. That was a lot of firepower. You want to talk about that? Was a military-grade weapon. Because they just created a lot of mayhem. And they were an anomaly back then. Because even still, we know who Bonnie and Clyde is. People are going to forget about. I don't even know that. I don't even remember that kid's name. I don't remember the kid's name. He shot up Columbine. I don't remember the kid's name. He shot up Sandy Hook. shot up the grocery store up in Buffalo recently. We don't have a gun problem. We have a people problem. They're pushing people off in front of trains up in New York. That's common now. People getting assaulted on the street. Wasn't that long ago, a woman got raped on one of the subways up there. Nobody did anything. Well, that's because if you do anything, you're going to go to jail. The guy that actually committed the crime, he's going to get a slap on the wrist. You're probably going to get the book thrown at you. Because you're usurping authority that government has now claimed solely for itself. You no longer have it because you gave it up. This is video just came out recently of somebody on a subway creating a bunch of mayhem. He sat down by a woman and he grabbed her by the hair and he held her there. And she's looking around and she's meekly begging people to help her. Nobody lifted a finger. I don't know if I could sit on my hands and witness something like that. My first instinct is going to grab the son of a bitch and put him right through one of the windows in that rail car. Put his head right through it. Fuck it, I'll go to prison. But I'm not one of those people that buys into this toxic masculinity bullshit. Masculinity isn't toxic. It's actually a good thing. And because we don't give it the proper credit that it's due, it's now running amok with all these young men that have no direction in their life because their fathers are non-existent and they're freaking told their whole entire life that as a male, he's the problem. You created this America. Now you got to deal with the aftermath. And unfortunately, so do I. And unfortunately, I believe that it's too late to come back. It's done. America will exist. It will remain, but it's a shell of its former self. And eventually, it's going to be something. It's going to have a system of government that is going to be completely different than what you have now. There's a lot of veterans right now waiting for the other shoe to fall. They're waiting for that point when there is total lawlessness. And they're going to try to intercept the authority that is going to step in and exert complete control as a means of gaining ultimate power. We've seen this movie before. We know how it ends. And it doesn't end